you have to stick around and find out. You got to stick around for the whole night. Yeah.
All right, we'll do.
I mean, basically, the whole answer is how we play. And that's really no different than we talked about in January. And that's been our work since we got back, when the kids got back after the break. It's all about trying to put a good football team together and see what we can do about playing at a higher level this year. That's our goal.
Any update on Jake? I know he was supposed to have surgery.
Yeah, he did have surgery yesterday, and it went as we got as good a news as you possibly could hope for regarding that. So we're optimistic that 3 to 4 months, somewhere in that ballpark, that he'll be able to play and compete. And we'll just keep our fingers crossed, hope everything goes smoothly.
When you make it around the state, obviously Des Moines is probably a hot stop for you guys. What's it like just interacting with the fans and seeing them in a little bit different situation than in the stands?
I don't get to see them at games typically because I'm facing the field
true,
and looking the wrong way. But that's what the iClub circuit's all about. It's just a chance for us to get out and personally thank people and, first of all, let them know that we appreciate their support, and then secondly, just say hello and get a chance to visit a little bit. And I think it's a great concept, certainly. We really rely on grassroots support, whether it's in a place like Des Moines, the heaviest populated place in our state, or the smaller towns and smaller venues. It's all important. That's what I think makes Iowa so special and unique.
This week's a big week for a lot of your former players, especially Brandon.
Yeah.
Have you got a chance to talk to him, and what's this week like for him?
I saw him yesterday morning, and there's not a lot I can say other than his work is done. He actually had his last workout this morning. He went a little bit earlier, and he had to travel into Chicago, I believe, this afternoon. So, but his work is done. Whether it be the most important thing was his body of work at the University of Iowa, and then what he's done since the end of the season. But he's a quality guy, and we'll have several guys drafted. All those guys have had good careers, and they've done the things they should do and should have done. So now it's just a matter of letting the process take care of itself. And the most important thing really is what all of them do when they end up at their assigned teams. That's whether they're first rounders or free agents. It really doesn't matter. It's what they do once they get there.
Who were you? Sorry, go ahead. Who were you impressed with that kind of made a jump in spring practice this year?
I think a lot of our players did, and it starts with our quarterback. Certainly, CJ did a good job, I think, taking command of the offense, and then Tyler Wiggers behind him improved vastly during the course of 15 practices, which is what you'd expect. It was the most work he's had. But I think a lot of different positions, we saw guys move forward and do a good job. A couple players of note. I think George Kittle had his best period of practice since he's been on campus, and he's an older guy now, so you'd expect that. And then our linebackers as a group, just really pleased with the development that they've made. And it's really close to call right now. We've got 5 different guys I think that could start for us and play very well. So, compared to a year ago, we've made a lot of strides there.
You've had several players drafted in the top 20. You look at a guy like Robert Gallery, who maybe had some tough times adjusting to the NFL. What will Brandon need to do to maybe be one of those day one starters like some people expect him to be?
Well, that all plays itself out, and typically in the NFL there's an expectation typically for first rounders to enter into the playing circumstances pretty early. That's usually what they hope for and want. And in his case, it's just a matter of getting with the organization that drafts him and going to school as fast as he can and learning as much as he can, and that's one thing I'm confident he'll do. A lot of it's, getting in good situations, bad situations. Certain situations are better than others for individual players, and hopefully he'll end up at a place that really has a need for his what he brings. But the biggest thing is whether he plays guard, tackle. There's been some discussion about that. The biggest thing about him is just what he brings as a football player and a team member. As good a player as he's on the field, I think those other things that are important to building a team. To me, those are things that he really excels at, and I think whoever drafts him is going to be very, very pleased with what he brings to the entire organization, not just what he brings to the football field itself.
Have you noticed anything on the recruiting trail whenever you have guys like this consistently being drafted in the top 20, especially at the offensive line position?
Hopefully that makes it a little bit more attractive maybe for prospects, but it just depends what a player's looking for. I think a lot of young people envision themselves playing in the National Football League, which is a really nice goal to have, but the most realistic thing is to graduate. And the bottom line is we want the guys to have good college careers. That's The NFL careers are just a byproduct of them doing really well at Iowa, and that's our concern first and foremost, that our players graduate, have a great experience, and hopefully develop their capabilities as much as possible as football players.
What's this time of year like just for you personally? You're kind of not in the building, which is one of the things you mentioned you wanted to do more of. But I mean, this is part of the job, right?
Yeah, this is built in, and it's it's a standard call, but it's important. And I left today, whatever, like 4 o'clock, 4:15 out of the office, so it's not really. I'll be in there in the morning, but it's important. It's an important part of the job, and Bump Elliott explained that to me back in the '80s, why it is important, especially for our state, I think. So, I get that, and there's not a lot I'm missing at this point, at least with the iClub circuit.
Back in January, you kind of talked about, getting together with your colleagues, having a chance to just kind of talk football, go on the road. Have you had an opportunity to do that at all, or any plans moving forward here before the season?
Yeah, I think so. You're talking about colleagues in the building or other places?
Just throughout, really kind of across the country, different coaches, anything like that?
Our staff's been out. I was not out when they were out, but I was out. I will be out at some given point, probably in June. You talk to people continually, people in the profession that you respect, and just bounce ideas off. And when our staff was out, I think they came back with a lot of good feedback and information from various places, and whether it be on recruiting, football, the practice schedules, etc., all the things that we look at. So, information's good, and the key is going through it, sorting through it, considering, discussing ideas, and the bottom line is, do they fit for what we are and what we want to do? Some do, some don't, but it's always good, I think, to just get exposure to new ideas and different ways of doing things. There's a lot of different ways to be successful, and I think it's been a productive couple months for us from that regard, and we'll have more to talk about certainly after the guys are all done with spring recruiting.
Jumping back to the draft, talking about Louis, could you touch on Louis a little bit, and what he kind of had some ups and downs with the program, considered quitting, at one point. Talk about kind of his development and where he's at right now.
I think to me that's the beauty of college sports. Most guys have a few bumps along the way, whether it's injuries. Brendan Sheriff went through the injury thing, and it's usually not a smooth path to a smooth, a productive career. In Louis' case, I think he got discouraged early, and he really considered quitting the program, which would have been just a real shame for everybody involved. Fortunately, he got great support at home, came back, and the growth that he's exhibited since that time has just been phenomenal. And his first year playing, he played really hard, but he was a young player out there, probably playing a little bit over his head. The last 2 years, he's played phenomenally well, and just he's had a great career, not only on the field as a player, but also a strong leader for us. And Louis is just one of those players you can count on in every way, and obviously a great student. He's working on a second degree right now. So to me, he's everything you hope for in a football player. And again, it's usually not a smooth, just a purely smooth road to the finish line.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.